Hello and welcome to another episode of TEVAdrive. Today we're lucky enough to be driving one of Canada's first Audi e-trons. It's a full electric SUV from Audi that we previously reviewed at the auto shows in Paris and Toronto. Now we get to finally drive one, and it's very exciting. We only have it for a few minutes. We hope to have it for a longer period in the next few weeks. But for now, those will be just our first impressions. So we've previously reviewed the three screens that you have here, which are kind of similar to, I-Pace and some of the Range Rovers. You have the main screen here, the dashboard. Then you have the navigation and entertainment screen, and then the climate screen right here. The shifters are kind of interesting. It's right here. So you have drive, sport, this is now reverse. So basically this is your shifter. So we're now in reverse. You can see a surround view and a nice high definition rear view camera. So we're gonna put it back in drive. And then, so here on the main screen, you have the regular options: radio, media, phone, navigation, settings, purchase, or you can even purchase stuff. Then vehicle settings, phone apps, etc., etc. So we have just changed the regen to manual. The only options are automatic manual. So we're gonna put it on the manual. We'll try and use the maximum regen rate on this vehicle to see how it compares with the other electric cars we have and we have test driven recently. So as you know, the specs of this car are approximately 400 horsepower, 95 kilowatt-hour battery, of which about 86 kilowatt-hours is usable. The range should allow you to drive over 400 kilometers, depending on your style of driving. We're gonna publish the official rating, which some people were disappointed with because it's less than the Model X. And of course Model 3. The car starts just around 90,000 for the base car. So it's getting pretty close to the Tesla Model X price. However, a lot of Audi fans will be happy to see the Audi launching their first full electric car, and it happens to be an all-wheel drive SUV, which is perfect. Okay, so that being said, let's hit the road and give you some more of our first impressions. So we're in drive already. There we go. Let's go. So in manual right now, I still don't feel, after switching the regen to manual, I still don't feel that much of a difference. So I will attempt to use the shift paddles here to adjust. When we use the automatic, the minus causes the regen to be stronger, the plus causes the regen to be less. Yeah, and it's the same story now in manual. I'm hoping that with manual, once we have the regen at max, that it'll remember and keep it. Yes, it does. Okay, good. Because pretty much with the automatic, we had to, every single time almost, we had to reset it to use the shift paddles to maximize it. Right now, the regen is much better than it was. Yeah, very exciting engine noise. It's not an engine noise, it's a motor noise, electric motor noise, which is very different from an engine noise. And we were hoping we could spin it up on the QE, but even at 2:55 p.m. we're running into some heavy traffic. Of course, we have the blind spot monitoring here giving us a warning. A lot of safety systems, adaptive cruise. So anyways, just to let you know that Audi is hoping to have these in the dealerships within the next few weeks. First few deliveries will be taking place. So if you want to, these cars that are being distributed and the one we're driving today are basically Audi Canada cars that were used for training purposes. But the actual cars for end users, the deliveries should begin shortly as well. So you should be able to find one to test drive. And as far as we have heard, Audi has mandated that the dealer should keep at least one demo in the dealership for people to be able to test drive them. So the car priced at $90,000, of course, Tesla fans will say that, you know, just like with the I-Pace, at that price point, it's almost the price of a Tesla Model X. That the range is not as big as the Tesla Model X because the car is not as efficient. That being said, you know, this is an Audi, and some people may prefer to actually they won't care much about the shorter range or the efficiency. They will care about the luxurious appointments in the car, the quiet. The car is indeed very quiet. Our experience with Teslas, including the one we own, is that, you know, there's a lot of road noise from outside. Both wind noise and road noise is transmitted to the interior. Audi, Mercedes, BMW have always, you know, been very careful with noise insulation from the outside, and this car is no different. It's very quiet inside. It's a high performance car. You know, it has an instant acceleration, as with all electric cars. Now that the region is set at maximum, it feels very natural to me, similar to Tesla, similar to our i3. So to go back to the pricing, again, it's great to have alternatives to the Tesla Model X and soon Model Y. So this would be priced kind of in the middle between the Model Y and the Model X, a little bit less than Model X. And obviously more than the Model Y. Now, this is just the first of Audi's full electric products that will be coming in the next few years. This will be followed by a coupe version of an SUV, followed by a GT sedan, a sports sedan, and also the Q4 e-tron, which will be the first affordable electric SUV coming within the next couple of years. So they will have, within the next couple of years, they're going to have at least 4 of these pure electric products on the market, which is very exciting, and it will compete directly with, of course, you know, besides Tesla, it will compete with Jaguar I-Pace, which is very similarly priced at starting at 90,000 Canadian. It'll compete against the upcoming Mercedes EQC electric SUV, as well as the future BMW iX3, which will not come until next year sometime. So by this time next year, you may have a choice of either Tesla or 4 other electric SUVs from the traditional manufacturers. Let's not forget also the Volvo, the Polestar 2, which is kind of a crossover / SUV all-electric vehicle. And the Volvo XC40 will also be made available in both pure electric and plug-in hybrid format. So the car, it rolls back, so there is no creep mode, which we love. Personally, I love that. Some people driving automatics may need to, you know, get used to it. We're quite familiar with it. Our i3 does not roll back. It has a hill holder. And Tesla, of course, has once you press the brake, it has a hold function as well. So perhaps there's one here, but we're yet to find it. And we're in adaptive cruise. Let's see how well it will keep its distance. Yes, it's slowing down. It's keeping distance. You can adjust the distance with one of these buttons here. Actually, the button is right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a little indication here of the distance. Now the distance up. Now the distance is down between you and us and the car in front. So we haven't asked the Audi app in terms of the auto steer help. It may be an option on future cars. So right now we're just using the adaptive cruise. We're gonna try and increase the speed. We'll set it at 110, but obviously because of the adaptive cruise, the car is automatically keeping a safe distance from the car in front of us. Seems to be working quite well. Okay, so that's the adaptive cruise. We'll try and take off from cruise and get into the left lane. And even beyond, with the kind of horsepower this car has, which is 400 horsepower, all-wheel drive, accelerating even at highway speeds it's pretty amazing. In spite of its heavy weight, the car feels very nimble. Size-wise, it's kind of similar to the I-Pace. It might be a little bit bigger than the I-Pace, definitely smaller than the Model X. So some people may actually prefer this size to the other two. So again, the more the merrier, I always say. So let's not criticize Audi too quickly, because with so many new products coming out from the entire Volkswagen group, so Volkswagen, Audi and Porsche in the next few years, we're going to be having some very nice electric car choices. The seating position seems to be a little higher than the I-Pace. The car itself is taller as well. We haven't driven Model X in quite a while, so it's hard for me to remember the seating position in a Model X. But I think, of course, outside of the supercharger network, this car being priced a little bit lower than the Model X, it should be quite successful. Not everybody cares about the supercharger network or the efficiency. As long as you have that 400 kilometer range, even if it's 50 kilometer less than comparable Tesla, as long as most people will be using them, in my opinion, to go to the cottage, and most cottages are within 300 kilometer range anyways, and everybody can plug in at their cottage, charge it and come back. So in my opinion, as long as these other crossover electric SUVs from other manufacturers can maintain, let's say, around 400 kilometer summer range and 300 kilometer winter range, they'll do just fine. Okay. Again, the alternative charging networks, the fast charging networks, other than Tesla, are being expanded every day. Electrify Canada, which is being installed by Volkswagen Group in Canada. There will be nationwide around 50 or so fast chargers capable of 150 kilowatt hour speeds. By the way, this car is capable of charging at that rate of 150 kilowatts. Recently, you've seen some graphs that show that the curve is quite a bit different than Tesla. It can maintain that high rate of speed longer. Part of it is due to the fact that the buffers at the bottom and at the top are larger than some of the other electric cars. But again, this car will be capable of really comparatively fast charging. Very quiet, amazingly quiet car. So this Audi product, as I mentioned, will be followed by other full electric Audi products. By the way, the next plug-in car from Audi Canada will be a Q5 plug-in hybrid, and that's already in the order books. It should be arriving here by September, so we look forward to test driving that product as well. As you know, at Toronto Electric Vehicle Association, we love both full electrics and plug-in hybrids, and in our own personal fleet we have both. Just a reminder that we have an i3 range extender, X5 plug-in, and of course our Tesla Model 3, the newest arrival in our fleet. And for some reason the regen is gone again. We're basically coasting. There we go. So I have to shift paddle it back to maximum regen. So I guess after a while the car resumes in its coasting mode. So whether you're in automatic regen or manual regen, the car will revert back to coasting, which in some cars, just like our X5 for example, the eco mode, the car will regen almost not at all, and it'll just coast. That's apparently how they calculated that, the most efficient style of driving. There we go. So now the regen is back. We're hitting a red light. The max regen here could be due to the weight of the car, or it's not, and even at maximum setting, it's not as strong as the i3 or Tesla. Even the I-Pace regen felt at its maximum setting, it felt a little bit stronger than here, but it's good enough, right? It's for people not used to strong regen, and the fact that you can adjust it, I think the buyers of this car will enjoy it. So we'll try and see. We're in dynamic mode again, so there we go. So we can, there's a second step. Nice. There's actually a second step in the acceleration, where you you go into like almost an overboost mode under the accelerator pedal, which I just discovered. So now I know. And then it really picks up. I don't want to use my famous word peppy, but this car is beyond peppy. It's really fast and, you know, high performance SUV. Again, it will be interesting to see how it performs in the winter, in colder months. The average loss, as we all know, for electric cars in the winter can be 20 to 30%, sometimes even more in extreme weather conditions. But again, with this 95 kilowatt hour battery, winter driving to the cottage in Ontario should not be a problem. Hello, we're back at the dealership. Unfortunately, won't have time to chat about the various display options and stuff because there's people waiting to drive the car. So we're gonna get back to this one when we get a longer test drive. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Take care.